So that's one IK rig. Now, when we create a IK retargeter, it's actually looking at the source rig and it's looking at the target rig. So we need one more rig. So we need to create one more rig. Now, Unreal does come with its own rigs. So there is actually an IK rig here for you. I'm not advocating that what we're building is better or worse than the Unreal Engine one. I'm teaching you guys how to do this. Naturally, I'm going to think ours is better, right? So what we're going to be grabbing is SKM Manny Simple. Now, why is that? Well, if we just grab a mannequin, let's grab Manny, and you come up here and you go to the skeleton, you can see that this preview mesh is what? SKM Manny Simple. If you click this magnifying glass, it takes you right there, right to that mesh or that skeleton. Let's be specific here. It's not a mesh, it's a skeleton. So that's what we're going to be creating an IK rig for. So we're going to come back and remember that's SKM Manny Simple. And we're going to come back down here, right click, animation, IK rig. SKM Manny Simple. And this is for the UE5 mannequin. Now this searching for a skeleton is going to come in handy later on. This little search guide comes in handy in a lot of different ways. So just understand that it's there and you're going to need to be in the skeleton mode to get to it. So let's close these. And now let's open up this guy. And we're going to be doing exactly the same thing that we did on the other one. Okay. There's a few differences. So what I'm going to do is walk you through the differences first, and then I'm going to fast forward, and then we'll hit the next differences at the next stage. So the first one is going to be, if you look here, we have something new. It's a root, and that's important. Mixamo doesn't come with a root. It's kind of messes with you a little bit, but not too terribly bad. But roots are important. The DAZ figure has a root, so that's good. UE4 has a root, so that's good. So what we're going to do is right-click, set retarget root. Okay? Boom. That's done. And now we're going to grab our spine, and that's going to be a chain. So I'm going to hit C. And this is all uppercase, so I'm keeping the naming just like the same on the other one. Now, let me take a quick look here. I think everything else is going to be the same. We have clavicles instead of shoulders. The digits, we do have metacarpals. We're not using those, okay? So include everybody but the metacarpals. You can see some twist bones. We're not including the twist bones. And that's for the arms and the legs. So I'll go ahead and set this up. And then I'll meet you, and then we'll go ahead and discuss if anything changed, and then we'll get into setting our limits, which is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so nothing tricky there. The only thing was the arms. No, not the arms. Well, the arms had twist bones, which we didn't use. The legs, using the thigh, calf, foot, and ball. Um, Other than that, you shouldn't have had a problem mapping those out. All right. So we'll be doing our limits next. I got ahead of myself here. I forgot a couple things. So let's go ahead and grab those. Number one, we have a root. We're going to include that in our bone mapping. So that's going to be a chain. Okay, very good. And then we want to add our IK, full body IK. So let's add a new solver, full body IK. It's missing the root bone. So you're going to go to your pelvis, right click, set root bone on selected solver. Now it's telling you it needs goals. So we're going to do the same thing. Grab the left hand, new IK goal. All right, come down here to the feet. It's going to be the ball. All right. And then just so you know too, it matters, doesn't matter what order you have your bone mapping done over here. Okay. It's not looking by what order you have these inputted. It's looking at that body part. So when these things talk to each other in the retargeter, it's, hey, brother, is your left arm the same as my right arm? Is your right hand the same as my right hand? And that's how it lines up for the retargeting. Doesn't matter what order you have these in. So don't get hung up on that. Does not matter. Okay, now let's set our limits. Our limits are going to be basically the same except for the feet. So let me just go ahead and blast through this, and we'll catch up when I go to do the feet. Okay, now let's take care of the feet. Okay, I think that takes care of that. So I'm just doing a check here, make sure I got everybody. I believe it. We've got our IK goals. I think we are good to go here. So let's go ahead and save this. And then let's just save all. All right, now that we have 2 IK rigs, we can now create a retargeter. We'll be creating an IK rig for UE4 as well. And then these retargeters, you can create as many retargeters as you want. And I know that might seem kind of weird, but let me talk it out here for a second. So when you create a retargeter, you're going to have a source and you're going to have a target. So right now our source is Mixamo and our target is going to be UE5. Once we do that, the animation is going to be in or tied to the UE5 IK rig. If we want to bring it to, if we want to create a retargeter for UE4, we're going to have to create an IK rig for UE4. You'll see it becomes, as you'll get into this, it becomes like a little loop. Okay, so I can't retarget for this because the animation's not showing up on that because I haven't created a retargeter for it. So I have to create a retargeter for that animation to show up so I can retarget the animation. I know it's kind of convoluted, but believe me, that loop exists. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and create a retargeter. So right click, animation, IK retargeter. It's going to ask you for the IK rig. This is where you're copying animation from, and we're copying it from Mixamo. So we're going to use the Unreal acronym, which is RTG for retargeter, and we're going to do a ybot underscore to UE5. Okay? Very plain. You know exactly what's going on here. And then it's going to ask you for a target IK rig. And what we need is we need these poses to be exactly the same. Okay. There is also one other thing, which I'm going to go ahead and let's get this out of the way now. You can really do this at any point because the reason why you can do it at any point, because these are pointing towards a skeleton. So we need to set up the skeleton for retargeting. And again, you can do it now, you can do it later, you can do it at the very end. It doesn't matter because it's all pointing back. But I'm just going to go ahead and grab the skeleton now and do it. Let's grab our UE5 skeleton. Come on. Oh, that's the IK. Okay. Here we go. That's what I want. And again, I want the skeleton. All right. So I'm going to do Manny first. We are going to do this exactly as the Unreal playbook tells us to. We're going to click on the gear, show retargeting options. We're going to right click on the root, recursively set translation to retargeting skeleton. That sets everybody to skeleton. Okay. Now you're going to click on the hip and select animation scaled. Now you're going to select on the root and all of your IKs and select animation. I guess you could do the handgun as well. All right. The only thing that I'm not sure of is this interaction and the center of mass. So I'm actually going to put them to animation. I'm not sure about this guy, so I'm just going to leave him alone. Okay, and then that's exactly how Unreal tells you to set up your skeleton so it's ready for retargeting. So we'll just go ahead and save this. I'm going to do the same thing to the Y-bot. Now, Y-bot doesn't have any IKs, so we can't set those. So we'll just go ahead and save. All right. Now, you need to do that before you retarget. So you need to make sure that you set up the skeleton properly for retargeting. And again, it doesn't matter when you do that because these IK rigs are looking at those skeletons. Okay. So if you the only way that it would matter is if you retargeted animations and you didn't do that, and then you went back to the skeleton and changed it, you're going to have to 86 those animations and retarget those. All right, enough of the gobbledygook. Let's go ahead and to make these poses the same, you're going to select Edit Pose. We're going to bring the bone draw size way down. And the target offset, we're going to put at 0. That way we can see what's going on. And we're also going to come up here to Character, Bones, All Hierarchy. That way we can see what Mixamo is doing. Now, the one thing I'm noticing here, yep, at least I think I am. Let's undo. Yep, certainly. Okay. The center of the hip is off. So we need to create a new pose, actually. And this is going to be for UE 5. So this is going to be or actually let's name this the other way around. Mixamo to UE5. That way we're kind of staying with our naming convention. All right. So we're going to edit the pose now. And now it's not going to let me select the hip. There we go. Well, okay. It's not going to let me change that, which is too bad. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the default pose. Actually, let's just reset. I'm going to delete that pose and go back to default. Okay. So click Edit Pose. All right. So we both learned something, right? Okay, I'm going to go to my left viewport. And let's see here. You know what? Are looking at the clavicles. Yeah, they are. Okay. So let's go to the top. All right, and snaps are off. And I'm going to bring that right to this joint. Okay, so I'm aiming for right here. And now I am in local right now. Yeah, I almost screwed up there. Okay, so now we want to be in left viewport. Let's go to top. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. Now, if you completely bugger this up, it's not a big deal. You can just start over. You want to make sure that you're going into perspective and that you're making sure that you're actually moving the bone in the direction that you want, especially when you're in a orthographic viewport. Okay, let's go ahead and do the legs.